Let me try to see something real quick, make a few adjustments to my mic. I'm trying to get my EQ right. So let's see if that makes a big difference. All right. I turned that down a little bit. Mids. So let's see how that sounds. We'll test it out later tonight when I play this back. But in the meantime, in between time, let's get it.
Message.
Today we gonna matter of fact, let me just put the camera on. Today we're gonna explore the myth of the wage gap right now. After that, I'll show y'all why the wage gap is a myth. But I mean, we'll just, do it like we always do it. You know what I'm saying? So, gonna talk about the wage gap a little bit. I'm gonna show y'all some videos. Y'all make up your own mind.
Game time, baby.
Alright? Yeah, I'll be right back. Hey. That didn't look like my jump shot. That sucks. Really, that was my shit. Damn. crazy, bro. Hey. Got me a dunk, though. It's definitely not the jump shot that I had on. Can I change it? Hold on, let me see. Damn. 2K back at it again with their legacy issues with the game engine. That's why I say this game isn't very much different than the other ones, because it's using the same game engine. Because you could tell by the glitches be in the game forever. My jump shot is different than the one I have saved that it's supposed to be. Hey, still made that though. Bitch. Walking the street is like a... Yeah, this ain't my jump shot. I gotta quit this shit. I gotta save and quit. That ain't my jump shot. I'll be right back, cause that shit's impossible to play like that. All right, yeah, give me a second. Over here trying to foul out, but they won't let me out the game. 2K, this shit crazy. Now I'm sitting over here on the bench. Hey, I'm trying to foul out. This shit won't let me out the game. I ain't trying to play this shit. My jump shot ain't right, man. So we gonna chill for a minute. It won't let me look. I can't believe this shit. Hey. I made it all the way to the rim. Shit. Bitch. Hey. This shit almost at halftime. I'm trying to foul out so I can change my jump shot. You dig? Hey. About to get to it in a second though. Hey.
The metaverse?
Hey. Not yet. This stream ain't really officially started yet. I'm having some technical difficulties because 2K don't want to save my jump shot. So I'm fouling out this game. You know what I'm saying? So fuck it. Look, I'm finna shoot right here. Fuck it. What is that, Larry Bird? Damn. That shit break. I'm trying to foul out. Might as well take this time to get everything in order. Get everything straight, you know what I'm saying? Shout out to the homie Kane's World Gaming. You dig? He be on that GTA shit. Hey. He throwing that shit up too. I'm on the bench again. They mad because I keep fouling. I don't know why my jump shot be changing, bro. I shouldn't have fucked with it. ready for y'all real quick. Hey. Hold up. Hold up. Hold up. We almost ready. I like this one better. Hold on. Yeah, there we go. There we go. Hey, hold on. Almost. We almost ready. We almost ready. Hold on, let's do this.
A ticking bomb means trouble for Batman and Robin.
Holy, breaking and entering.
A ticking bomb means trouble for Batman and Robin.
Holy, breaking and entering. It's Batgirl.
Quick, Batgirl, untie us before it's too late.
It's already too late. I've worked for you.
A ticking bomb means trouble for Batman and Robin.
Holy, breaking and entering. It's Batgirl.
Quick, Batgirl, untie us before it's too late.
It's already too late. I've worked for you a long time and I'm paid less than Robin. Same job, same employer means equal pay for men and women.
No time for jokes, Batgirl.
It's
No time for jokes,
Ticking
Batgirl.
bomb means trouble
That's
for
funny.
Batman and Robin.
Holy, breaking and entering. It's Batgirl.
Quick, Batgirl, untie us before it's too late.
It's already too late. I've worked for you.
A ticking bomb means trouble for Batman and Robin. A ticking bomb means trouble for Batman and Robin.
Holy, breaking and entering. It's Batgirl.
Quick, Batgirl, untie us before it's too late.
It's already too late. I've worked for you a long time and I'm paid less than Robin. Same job, same employer means equal pay for men and women.
No time for jokes, Batgirl.
It's no joke.
A ticking bomb means trouble for Batman and Robin.
Holy, breaking and entering.
A
Holy
ticking
breaking
bomb
and entering.
means trouble for A ticking bomb means trouble for Batman and Robin.
Holy, breaking and entering. It's Batgirl.
Quick, Batgirl, untie us before it's too late.
It's already too late. I've worked for you a long time and I'm paid less than Robin. Same job, same employer means equal pay for men and women.
No time for jokes, Batgirl.
It's no joke. It's the federal equal pay law.
Holy, act of Congress.
If you're not getting equal pay, contact the Wage and Hour Division, U.S. Department of Labor.
There you have it. That's pretty simple. And it's a Batman video. It's a helpful Batman video for you too. So if you don't already get what I'm alluding to, you may not get it. So don't worry about it.
A ticking bomb means trouble for Batman and Robin.
Holy, breaking and entering. It's Batgirl.
Quick, Batgirl, untie us before it's too late.
It's already too late. I've worked for you a long time and I'm paid less than Robin. Same job, same employer means equal.
I just made a mistake. I gotta quit out of this game too now. Hold on. Let's see if I can dashboard before it puts me in there. No. I think it already got me. Sheesh. We'll try it though. The first 30 minutes of this stream is gonna be just me fucking trying to change my jump shot, apparently. Well, it's okay. I'm probably gonna stream for a little, like, maybe 2 hours or something anyway, so, you know what I mean? Not too big of a deal. I think it already got me though, I think. Hey, I'm here. I did it quick enough. You dig, hey? what shot is the best for bigs? I need to start watching some videos, but I ain't tripping right now though. Bitch. Hey. Alright, here we go. Alright, we finally did it. We finally did it. I changed my jump shot. Alright. Alright. We bitch, I see. Yeah. Alright. Let's get back to my video then.
A ticking bomb means trouble for Batman and Robin.
Holy
Bad.
A ticking bomb means trouble for Batman and Robin.
Holy breaking and entering. It's Batgirl.
Quick, Batgirl, untie us before it's too late.
It's already too late. I've worked for you a long time and I'm paid less than Robin. Same job, same employer means equal pay for men and women.
No time for jokes, Batgirl.
It's no joke. It's
No
the
time for
federal equal
jokes.
pay law.
Holy act of Congress.
If you're not getting equal pay, contact the Wage and Hour Division, U.S. Department of Labor.
The wage gap myth.
A ticking bomb means trouble for Batman and Robin.
Holy breaking and entering. It's Batgirl.
Quick, Batgirl, untie us before it's too late.
It's already too late. I've worked for you a long time and I'm paid less than Robin. Same job, same employer means equal pay for men and women.
No time for jokes, Batgirl.
It's no joke.
No time
It's the
for
federal
jokes.
equal pay law.
Holy act of Congress.
If you're not getting equal pay, contact the Wage and Hour Division, U.S. Department of Labor.
See, that was easy. But yeah, though, it's more to it. And we're gonna go in on it a little bit real quick. You dig? Hold on. I think I see it. Let's see. That was just a quick one, though. All right, check this one out.
Hi, my name is Wendy Chun-hoon.
Hold on. Yes, she is Wendy something. Holy shit.
Hi, my name is Wendy Chun-hoon. I direct the Women's Bureau at the United States Department of Labor. Equal pay is core to gender and racial equity. The Women's Bureau has fought for equal pay since the 1920s. In fact, my predecessor at the Women's Bureau, Esther Peterson, helped draft the Equal Pay Act 60 years ago. Today, we remain committed to ensuring equal pay, including for women of color, mothers, and LGBTQI+ workers. This year, the Women's Bureau published new data and research on the causes of the gender and racial wage gap, as well as how salary history bands can serve as an effective tool to reduce this gap. We know closing these gaps will require ensuring women have access to higher paying jobs, like the good infrastructure jobs being created through the Biden-Harris Invest in America efforts, and to make sure jobs held by a majority of women, like care jobs, are paid decently. Also that families have the care supports they need to stay connected to work. And we will continue advocating for equal pay for equal work until we level the playing field for all. Thank you.
The Equal Pay Act. The wage gap myth.
Oh, where should I put this? The famous wage gap statistic that for the same work, women earn 70. Oh, where should I put this? Oh, where should I put this? The famous wage gap statistic that for the same work, women earn 77 cents on the dollar, that's bogus. If employers could save 23% by hiring women, they'd fire all the men.
Duh.
The gap is just the difference between the average wages of all working men and women. It ignores factors that justify different pay, type of job, hours worked per week. When these are taken into account, the wage gap all but disappears. Now, some equal pay activists acknowledge that factors like college major, hours worked per week, that these explain the gap. But they insist women choose different majors and work fewer hours because of social pressure and sexist stereotypes. Well, it's 2016, not 1960. American women today are free to choose. Why not respect their choices? Now, I'm not suggesting that things are perfect for women in the workplace, but genuine reform will come from truth, not myth. If you want to see progress in the workplace, stop promoting the phony wage gap statistic. What do you think we can do to stop the spread of misinformation? Let me know in the comments. And if you have ideas for
Stop a spread of misinformation. That's funny. Oh, did I get the ball? Oh, I do have the ball. All right, well. I mean, I got 10 seconds, all right. Well, I don't have 10 seconds anymore. Yeah, I got 4, 3, 2, 1. Oh, I lost the ball. Holy shit. All right. Whatever. It sucks, but. Oh, shit. Hey. Get here, boy. Damn. Who that? Oh, come on, bro. Why is Kyrie playing such good defense? I don't think Kyrie plays defense like this. Holy shit, shoot it. Damn. We made it work. We fixed it. Alright. Hey. Yeah, let him get that. Damn. Slightly late. Slightly. What? I pushed the fucking wrong button. Hey! I jumped over his back. Whoa. Well, that was so loud for no reason.
The Equal Pay Act.
Oh yeah, this kid's video.
The Equal Pay Act of 1963 was the solution to a big problem. Women were getting paid less for doing the same jobs as men just because. The Equal Pay Act of 1963 was. The Equal Pay Act of 1963 was the solution to a big problem. Women were getting paid less for doing the same jobs as men just because of their gender. This was the first act of the federal anti-discrimination laws that address wage differences. The Equal Pay Act was signed by John F. Kennedy on June 10, 1963. During World War II, labor shortages brought large numbers of women in. The Equal Pay Act of 1963 was the solution to a big problem. Women were getting paid less for doing the same jobs as men just because of their gender. This was the first act of the federal anti-discrimination laws that addressed wage differences. The Equal Pay Act was signed by John F. Kennedy on June 10, 1963. During World War II, labor shortages brought large numbers of women into the workplace. As men started to join the military and women started to take over their civilian jobs, unions started to advocate for equal pay. This act made it illegal for men and women to be paid different salaries for similar work. Sadly, this law has been weakened by loopholes, inadequate remedies, and adverse court rulings.
I think that little kid or whoever it was trying to make that video is correct. It's funny because they always say the Equal Pay Act and then they try to say, but it don't work. Well, none of our laws necessarily work. You know, so like, just because, you know, the Equal Pay Act don't like work 100% doesn't mean you can't like use it in the argument to say that the wage gap doesn't exist. Give me a second. Hey, hold on. Sheesh, I'll be right back. I'm back. Shit. Oh, shit. I got a couple seconds. Hey! I did it. Ooh. Kyrie trying to go crazy. Damn, bro. You greened it. Alright, I got a little more. Let's see. Alright, here we go. Did I hold it too long? Yeah. Then he got his own shit back. He got his own rebound. See what this shit saying.
The claim that women earn less than men for the same work is false. The claim that women earn less than men for the same work is false.
That's pretty plain and simple.
In his State of the Union, President Obama said, the claim that women earn less than men for the same work is false.
Well, there you go. It's short and simple right there.
The claim that women earn less than men for the same work is false. In his State of the Union, President Obama said that the claim that women earn less than men for the same work is false. In his State of the Union, President Obama said that American women are being cheated out of about a quarter of their salary, that they earn only 77 cents for every dollar a man earns. This is a massively discredited factoid. It is simply not true. 23-cent gender pay gap is simply the difference between the average earnings of all men and women working full-time. It does not take into account differences in occupation, job tenure, hours worked per week. When all of these factors are taken into consideration, the gap narrows to the point of vanishing. The wage gap myth has been repeatedly discredited, but it will not die. The gender gap can largely be explained by men and women's different life choices. I mean, just consider how men and women differ in what they choose to major in college. If you look at the top 10 most lucrative majors, fields like petroleum engineering or computer science, naval architecture, men prevail by large numbers. Women prevail in all but one of the top 10 least lucrative majors, such as early childhood education, social work. It turns out that the choice of college major and factors such as that help explain the gender wage gap. All the evidence suggests that though young women have the talent for engineering and computer science, their interests tend to lie elsewhere. And to say that these women are hopelessly enthralled to sexist stereotypes or are manipulated into their life choices by forces outside their control, that's just divorced from reality. And it's insulting as well. I mean, if a woman wants to be a teacher rather than a miner, or a veterinarian rather than a petroleum engineer, more power to her. The White House should stop using the spurious wage gap statistic. Women are going to be best served by good information, accurate data, not hyperbole and misinformation.
Right? Plain and simple.
This month is Women's History Month, and some members of Congress are taking a closer look at the pay gap between...
No, thank you. I thought that video was gonna be good, but that shit was way too loud. We'll definitely not be playing that.
High noon in Gotham City. In a deserted warehouse, Batman and Robin are shackled to a post, desperately struggling to break loose. Inches away, a time bomb ticks ominously, threatening to blow the dynamic duo into oblivion. Suddenly, a crash of glass.
Holy, breaking and entering! It's Batgirl!
Quick, Batgirl, untie us before it's too late.
It's already too late. I've worked for you a long time, and I'm paid less than Robin.
Holy discontent!
Same employer, same job means equal pay for men and women.
This is no time for jokes, Batgirl.
It's no joke. It's the federal equal pay law.
Holy act of Congress!
Can we talk about this later, Batgirl?
Will it be too late? Will Batgirl save the dynamic duo? Will she get equal pay? Tune in tomorrow.
Will she get equal pay?
Will Batgirl save the dynamic duo? Will she get equal pay? Tune in tomorrow or contact the wage and hour division listed in your phone book under the U.S. Department of Labor.
Damn. I didn't know they had that much Batman and equal pay advertisement going on back then, but that's cool.
On the 7th of June, 1968, 187 women at the Ford factory in Dagenham walked out on strike, followed by 200 more at the Hailwood plant in Merseyside. The strike, which lasted 3 weeks and reportedly cost Ford $8 million in orders, was in protest at the regrading of female sewing machinists as unskilled labour, when men doing similar work in the same factory were graded as skilled labour and paid higher wages. We had skills the same as the men, yet we were classed the same as the teenage boys who swept the floor. Barbara Castle, Secretary of State for Employment and Productivity in Harold Wilson's Labour government, was brought in to help negotiate a settlement. While the strikers' demands focused on the issue of grading, the broader debate quickly became about equal pay, a long-term goal for Castle. While she was unable to change the grading system at Dagenham, Castle was able to negotiate an increase in the women's pay, bringing this up from 80 to 92% of the men's wages. She also promised to introduce legislation on equal pay, which was delivered within 2 years. Equal pay was not just made in Dagenham, though. This call has a much longer history, stretching back to the 19th century and accelerated by the mobilisation of women to undertake roles traditionally held by men during the 2 world wars. Between the wars, equal pay was an objective of the 6-Point Group, founded in 1921 by Lady Rhondda. Meanwhile, the House of Commons voted several times in the 1920s in favour of equal pay in the civil service, but no action was taken. In 1944, Thelma Caslick-Keir even tabled a successful equal pay amendment, only for the measure to be quashed by Churchill. The same year, the Equal Pay Campaign Committee was formed, chaired by Mavis Tate. In 1954, the committee organised a petition calling for equal pay in the public services that was signed by over 80,000 people. Presented to Parliament by a cross-party group of women MPs, including Irene Ward and Barbara Castle, the petition led to equal pay being phased into the civil service between 1955 and 1961. As the Conservative Chancellor, Rab Butler, conceded, "If we don't move, someone will." However, private employers were not affected. Castle announced talks on equal pay legislation to the House of Commons a year before the Dagenham dispute, a measure pledged in the 1964 Labour Manifesto. With pressure building within and outside Parliament, favourable polls and equal pay being a requirement for British entry to the European Economic Community, the prospect of legislation was finally within sight, with the Dagenham dispute proving the last push Castle needed. The Equal Pay Act banned discrimination between men and women in the terms and conditions of their employment, in both the public and private sector. It received royal assent on the 29th of May 1970.
This is England, but
in a move designed to appease employers and give them time to make the necessary preparations, it did not come into force until the 29th of December 1975.
So it would be 1975 in the UK or Britain or wherever she's talking about. I'm pretty sure that place over there. Oh, holy shit! But in America, it was a lot sooner. So let's get back to America real quick. Yeah, oh, I see. It says 1970s for them. Yeah, okay, that's cool though. I learned something new.
Let's take a look at the Equal Pay Act. Pay disparities, based on any protected class characteristics, are discriminatory, but pay discrimination based on sex is a particular concern. A substantial gap still exists between the earnings of full-time male workers and that. Pay disparities, based on any protected class characteristics, are discriminatory, but pay discrimination based on sex is a particular concern. A substantial gap still exists between the earnings of full-time male workers and that of full-time female workers. Overall, female workers had median weekly earnings that were 82% of men's corresponding earnings in 2016. Many factors undoubtedly account for the persistent male-female earnings gap. Identifying discrimination in pay is particularly challenging. Pay determinations are, by their nature, individualized. This is particularly true when an employer bases pay on assessments of individuals' performance or merit. Pay is influenced by a multitude of factors, including the labor market, an organization's pay structure, the conditions and demands of the job, and a host of individual characteristics like seniority, education, or special skills. More than most other employment decisions, pay determinations are subject to negotiation and are affected by prior decisions that might reach back far in time. Sorting through these complexities requires an approach somewhat different from that used in other discrimination cases. A methodology for proving pay discrimination has been developed for Equal Pay Act cases. Employers are prohibited from paying a person of one sex at a lower rate than a person of another sex for performing substantially equal work in the same establishment.
Wow, fucking levels, people. But yeah, Equal Pay Act. Wage gap myth. Let's go. Let's keep going. Hold on. I already know that this. Hold on, I gotta shoot this free throw. This one probably.
The Equal Pay Act. The Equal Pay Act passed in 1963. The Equal Pay Act. The Equal Pay Act passed in 1963 required that men and women be given equal pay for equal work in the same establishment. But we didn't get there without a fight.
I thought she was gonna be like, but it's still not great. It's still not 100%, but nothing's 100%. But at least they didn't say nothing like that. So let's start it over.
The Equal Pay Act. The Equal Pay Act passed in 1963. The Equal Pay Act.
Let's like, you know, I mean, you hear it, right? You can memorize it, right?
The Equal Pay Act. The Equal Pay Act passed in 1963 required that men and women be given equal pay for equal work in the same establishment. But we didn't get there without a fight. By 1963, the Equal Pay Act had been nearly 100 years in the making. In 1870, Congress actually passed a bill prohibiting pay discrimination based on gender for federal jobs. But the bill got watered down in the Senate and was never really enforced, a problem that would come back to haunt women a century later. Over the next 93 years, women's rights groups and labor organizations alike would advocate for equal pay for women, with some minor advancements, but culture would soon change. World War II brought an increase in jobs without the men to fill them. Women went from 24% of the US workforce to 37%, leading unions to take up the cause for equal pay. Twice in the 1940s, legislation was proposed to enforce equal pay for women on a federal level. First in 1944 by Congresswoman Winifred C. Stanley, then in 1945 by the National Labor Board. But despite much public support on both sides of the aisle, the bills were never passed. Why? Well, some argue blatant sexism. Others say the government had to prioritize employing veterans returning from war. And still others point to the wealthy business owners who fought the legislation in order to get away with paying women a lower wage. As the war ended, some women left their jobs, but others remained. By 1960, there were nearly 25 million women working, but they were earning only 59 cents to every dollar earned by their male counterparts. This all came to a head in 1961 when labor activist Esther Peterson became head of the Women's Bureau in the Department of Labor. She took up the cause, urging President John F. Kennedy to establish the Commission on the Status of Women. Through her work, she drafted the Equal Pay Act, but it wouldn't pass without a fight. Both the Chamber of Commerce and the National Retail Merchants Association opposed it, arguing women were more expensive to employ than men due to absenteeism and turnover. In other words, women were more likely to miss work because of childcare and pregnancy. In the end, the Equal Pay Act passed and was enacted to ensure that women and men were paid the same for the same work. which apply to all forms of compensation: salary, overtime, bonuses, stock options, life insurance, vacation, and benefits. Difference in pay was permitted in cases of affirmative defenses, such as seniority, merit, and quantity or quality of production. Definitions that are open to interpretation. Many employers use this vague language to their advantage, applying maneuvers like simply changing a job title to justify paying women less. The Equal Pay Act also did little to protect women from other workplace-related discrimination. But subsequent legislation stepped in to fill the gaps, like the Educational Amendment of 1972, most well known for Title IX, which prohibited discrimination on the basis of sex in educational institutions that receive federal aid, and the Pregnancy Discrimination Act of 1978, which protected pregnant women in the workplace, and the Family Medical Leave Act of 1993, which gave added protections to men and women in the workforce. Despite the loopholes and limitations, the Equal Pay Act had a tremendous impact on society, challenging stereotypes about women, inviting more women into the workplace, and reducing the pay gap. Women went from earning 59 cents of every dollar a man earned in 1960 to 77 cents in 2011. Change is happening, but slowly. And even today, activists still continue the fight to make the workplace a fair, safe, and equal environment.
Like I said, so 1965, Equal Pay Act. Bitch.
In human history. In many ways, why don't businesses women in the United States and in Western Europe are the free Women in the United States and in Western Europe are the freest and most liberated in human history. In many ways, they are not merely doing as well as men, they are doing better. Women's emancipation is one of the glories of Western civilization and one of the great chapters in the history of freedom. So why then are those in the women's movement, such as the leaders and members of activist groups like the National Organization for Women, the professors in women's studies departments at our colleges, and many women in the media, why are they still so dissatisfied? These feminists hardly acknowledge women's progress. Yes, they concede that some advances have been made, but the fact that most women reject their activist brand of feminism and think of themselves as free is, for this crowd, proof of just how entrenched patriarchy and inequality truly are. Women are so oppressed, they don't even know it. Year after year, these activists make claims about women in violence, women in depression, women in eating disorders, women in workplace injustice, to support their views. Over the years, I have looked carefully at many of these claims. What I have found is that much of the supporting evidence, mostly victim statistics, is misleading and often flat out wrong. consider the issue of the so-called gender wage gap. How many times have you heard that for the same work, women receive 77 cents for every dollar a man earns? This charge is constantly repeated by feminist activists and their supporters. Yet it is so deeply misleading as to border on outright falsehood. 23-cent gender pay gap is simply the difference between the average earnings of all men and women working full-time. It does not take account for differences in occupations, positions, education, job tenure, or hours worked per week. Now, wage gap activists and groups like the American Association of University Women or the National Women's Law Center, they say, no, even when you control for these factors, women still earn less. Well, it always turns out that they have omitted one or two crucial data points. Take the case of doctors. On the surface, it looks like female physicians are clearly victims of wage discrimination. They appear to earn less for the same work. But dig a little deeper beneath the surface, and you find that women are far more likely than men to enter lower-paying specialties like pediatrics or family medicine than higher-paying cardiology or anesthesiology. They are also more likely to work part-time. And even women who work full-time put in about 7% fewer hours than men. Women physicians are also far more likely to take long leaves of absence, usually to start a family. Now, there are exceptions, but most workplace pay gaps narrow to the point of vanishing when one accounts for all of these relevant factors. Now, how do the women's advocacy groups react to this? They insist that women's choices are not truly free. Women who decide, say, to stay home with children or to work fewer hours or to become pediatricians rather than heart surgeons are held back by invisible barriers or internalized oppression. According to the National Organization for Women, powerful sexist stereotypes steer women and men toward different educational training and career paths and family roles. But is it really social conditioning that explains women's vocational preferences and their special attachment to children? Perhaps in the pursuit of happiness, men and women take somewhat different paths. And isn't it more than a little patronizing to suggest that most American women are not free, they're not self-determining human beings? And here is common sense proof that the male-female wage gap is untrue. If it were really true that an employer could get away with paying Jill less than Jack for the exact same work, wouldn't most employers fire as many of their male employees as possible and replace them with females and enjoy a huge market advantage? As a regular campus lecturer, I routinely encounter students who have fully accepted the feminist propaganda. American college women are arguably the most fortunate, liberated beings on the planet, yet in their feminist theory classes, they're likely to learn that they are put upon and tyrannized by men. And the more elite the school, the more advanced the degree, the more likely they are to take such feminist propaganda seriously. But this doesn't have to continue. The time has come for young women to take back feminism, reform it, correct its excesses, repudiate the victim propaganda. Get rid of the women are from Venus, men are from hell storylines.
Damn.
Begin the arduous task of correcting almost 3 decades of feminist misinformation. Women who are plagued by workplace injustice or sexual violence will be best helped by truth and solid research, not by hysteria and hype. And as a final piece of personal advice for young women, appreciate and make good use of the unprecedented freedom that you have. I'm Christina Hoff Sommers of the American Enterprise Institute for Prager University.
I like that though. The post-up game is working proper though. Hey.
If for the same work women only make 77 cents for every dollar a man makes, why don't businesses hire only women? Wages are the biggest expense for most businesses, so hiring only women would reduce costs by nearly a quarter, and that would go right to the bottom line. Don't businesses want to be profitable, or are they really just bad at math? Well, actually, it's the feminists, celebrities, and politicians spreading this wage gap myth who who have the math problem. Here's why.
Right.
The 77 cents on the dollar statistic is calculated by dividing the median earnings of all women working full-time by the median earnings of all men working full-time. In other words, if the average income of all men is, say, $40,000 a year, and the average annual income of all women is, say, $30,800, that would mean that women earn 77 cents for every dollar a man earns. 30,800 divided by 40,000 equals 0.77. But these calculations don't reveal a gender wage injustice because they don't take into account occupation, position, education, or hours worked per week. Even a study by the American Association of University Women, a feminist organization, shows that the actual wage gap shrinks to only 6.6 cents when you factor in different choices men and women make. And the key word here is choice. The small wage gap that does exist has nothing to do with paying women less, let alone with sexism. It has to do with differences in individual career choices that men and women make. In 2009, the U.S. Department of Labor released a paper that examined more than 50 peer-reviewed studies and concluded that the oft-cited 23-cent wage gap may be almost entirely the result of individual choices being made by both male and female workers. Well, let's look at some of those choices. Georgetown University compiled a list of the 5 best-paying college majors and the percentage of men and women majoring in those fields. Number 1 best-paying major, petroleum engineering, 87% male. Number 2, pharmaceutical sciences, 48% male. 3, mathematics and computer science, 67% male. 4, aerospace engineering, 88% male. 5, chemical engineering, 72% male. Notice that women outrepresent men in only one of the 5 top-paying majors by only a few percentage points. Now consider the same study's list of the 5 worst-paying college majors. Number 1, counseling and psychology, 74% female. 2, early childhood education, 97% female. 3, theology and religious vocations, 66% male. 4, human services and community organization, 81% female. And 5, social work, 88% female. Here, it's the women who lead in all but one category. Even within the same profession, men and women make different career choices that impact how much money they make. Take nursing, where male nurses, on the whole, earn 18% more than female nurses. The reason? Male nurses gravitate to the best-paying nursing specialties, they work longer hours, and disproportionately find jobs in cities with the highest compensation.
There you go.
Now here's how one expert on nursing compensation, Professor Linda Aiken of the University of Pennsylvania, sums up the data. Career choices and educational differences explain most, if not all, the gender gap in nursing. The Department of Labor paper concluded that once these differences are accounted for across all professions, the unexplained wage gap is somewhere between 4.8 and 7%, almost identical to the 6.6 percentage gap found by the AAUW. But why is there any gap at all? No one knows for sure, as both the AAUW and the Labor Department concede. There are so many variables that drive wages that no single study can cover them all. Few wage gap studies control for variables such as dangerous work environment. Men are vastly overrepresented, for example, on oil rigs. And here's another variable. Men are more willing and able to work long hours without advance notice. According to Harvard economist Claudia Golden, even if 2 lawyers have the same education, same specialty, and work the same number of hours, firms pay more to someone who is willing to always be on call and ready to be in the office when the firm needs them, as opposed to wanting a more regular schedule. This isn't sexism, it's just common sense. With more realistic categories and definitions, whatever wage gap remains would certainly narrow to the point of vanishing. So it seems that business leaders aren't bad at math simply because they don't only hire women. Those who claim that for the same work, women earn 77 cents on the dollar compared to men, on the other hand, are not merely bad at math, but at telling the truth. I'm Christina Hoff Sommers of the American Enterprise Institute for Prager University.
To subscribe to our YouTube channel, click here.
Eesh. No thanks. Wait. But yeah, we'll get back to that shit in a second. Oh, come on. D-Rosen, what are you doing? Bro. I'm just playing. Give me a second. I'll be right back, matter of fact. You dig? I'm back. Hold up. Alright. Let's see what else we got.
Trying to explain this inconvenient fact.
The median salaries in the White House.
She looks like surprised. Bitch. Hey, Belle. Oh. That was weird. Zach Levine going all the way. He said, fuck it. All right.
White House spokesman Jay Carney tied himself in knots this week trying to explain this inconvenient fact.
The median salaries in the White House, women make 88% of what men make.
And I'll tell you what he said coming up. This week we heard over and over again from the White House, from members of Congress, from journalists, that women earn 23 cents less than men for doing the same work.
On average, a woman still earns just 77 cents for every dollar a man does.
And today, Congress argued over a bill called the Paycheck Fairness Act. And that bill is premised on this 23-cent wage gap injustice. Well, let's do a little reality check. First of all, no competent labor economist takes the 23-cent wage gap injustice claim seriously. There was an analysis of more than 50 peer-reviewed papers commissioned by the Department of Labor. What they found is that the so-called wage gap is mostly, perhaps entirely, an artifact of the different choices men and women make. Different fields of study, different professions, different balances between home and work. Now, wage gap activists will argue that even when you control for relevant variables, women still earn less. Well, it always turns out they omit one or two crucial variables. So why play this game? Now, a colleague of mine, the economist Mark Perry, has been blogging for several months about the gender pay gap at the White House. It turns out that the median pay for female staffers is 88% of that of male staffers. Now, White House spokesman Jay Carney created a firestorm of protest among reporters because he was tap dancing around this embarrassing fact.
Well, I would say a couple of things about this. We know that closing the gender wage gap is a key part of our economic agenda, our women's agenda, and here at the White House, equal pay legislation deems that there should be equal pay for equal work, and that's what we have.
He insisted on the one hand, oh no, women earn equal pay for equal work in the Obama administration. And he sort of dismissed the 88-cent figure as being, well, just an aggregate of everyone on the staff from junior to senior levels. Well, what he essentially was saying is that the 88-cent gap is no proof of White House discrimination, since it leaves out so many variables. Well, fine, that's right. But why then does the president use the 77-cent figure, which is misleading in exactly the same way? Now, reporters also pressed Betsy Stevenson, who's a member of the White House Council of Economic Advisors. They pressed her about the bogus factoid. To her credit, she quickly acknowledged that there were a lot of things that go into the 70-cent figure, and many things contribute to it, and that no one was saying, she said, that it was about discrimination. Well, yes, they are. And activists, politicians, they have been saying it for years. Now, it is not my claim that women no longer face discrimination in the United States. There is no evidence that I can see, or most responsible economists can see, of systemic wage discrimination against women. But of course, there's still workplaces where women are being shortchanged. But here's the bottom line. Women who are struggling economically or coping with gender bias, they're going to be best served by truth, careful research, not hype, spin, factoids, advocacy data. We'll all be better served by truth. So the White House, members of Congress, journalists, and everyone else should stop using the specious wage gap statistic. Just let it go. I'm Christina Hoff Sommers. Thank you for joining me.
She's cool.
Now leave your questions in the comment section below this video, and we'll try to address them in a future episode. And if...
All right, that's enough. See what else we got.
All the time. Women earn 79 cents for every dollar men make. And while that's when we talk about gender equality in the United States, there's this one statistic you see all the time. When we talk about gender equality in the United States, there's this one statistic you see all the time. Women earn 79 cents for every dollar men make. And while that statistic is factually correct, there's a lot it doesn't tell you. It simply compares the median wages of men and women who work full-time. It doesn't tell you how the wage gap plays out for women with different educational levels or different ages who work in different fields. And you need that information if you want to start closing the wage gap. Part of the wage gap reflects the fact that women are concentrated in lower paying occupations. But to fully understand the issue, you have to look within occupations too. Back in 2009, 3 economists set out to understand the wage gap by following a group of MBA graduates from the University of Chicago's Booth School of Business. Lower paying occupations. And you need that information if you want to start closing the wage gap. Part of the wage gap reflects the fact that women are concentrated in lower paying occupations. But to fully understand the issue, you have to look within occupations too. Back in 2009, 3 economists set out to understand the wage gap by following a group of MBA graduates from the University of Chicago's Booth School of Business. They looked at thousands of men and women who graduated between 1990 and 2006. And their data showed that men had slightly higher salaries right out of the gate. 1 year out of business school, women were making an average salary of $115,000, while men earned $130,000. But 9 years out of business school, things looked really different. Men were earning an average salary of $400,000, while women were earning 60% less, $250,000 on average. The gap had widened considerably. But research suggests the gap doesn't stay that wide, that it shrinks as women enter middle age. This chart shows how the wage gap for college graduates changes as women age. The lower the line, the bigger the wage gap between men and women. If you look at women born in 1973, you can see the wage gap growing as they go from their mid-20s to their mid-30s. Better than previous generations, but heading in the same direction. Same thing for women born in 1968. The pay difference between men and women continues to grow as they move from their mid-30s to their mid-40s. And for women born in 1948, things started off the same. The gap widens as they get older, but then all of a sudden it starts shrinking. As women approach their 50s and 60s, the difference between men's and women's salaries actually gets smaller and smaller, which makes sense if you think about what often happens during a woman's 20s and 30s. In the Chicago MBA study, women with kids had a wage gap twice as large as women without. The truth is that women still take on a disproportionate share of child-rearing tasks. A survey from Pew found that in 2-parent households, women did more than men when it came to managing kids' schedules, taking care of them when they're sick, and handling the majority of household chores. And that was a survey where both parents worked full-time. But these additional responsibilities, they seem to hurt some women more than others. This is a really key research finding from Claudia Golden, an economist at Harvard, who is a leading researcher on the gender wage gap. She shows this by exploring how gender pay gaps vary in different fields, and this is one of her charts. Each of the dots is a different higher paying job. The lower the dot, the larger the gender pay gap, and the further to the right, the more the job pays, based on the average income of men in that job. These green dots represent jobs in the tech sector, and for the most part, the jobs are pretty close to the zero line, meaning the difference in pay for men and women is really small. The same is true for jobs in science, the yellow dots. But look at these red dots. They represent jobs in business, and they're mostly clustered towards the middle and the bottom of the chart, meaning they have some of the largest wage gaps. And there's a fairly simple way to explain some of these differences. Some jobs require really specific hours, and others are more flexible. Take your prototypical businesswoman. Maybe she's a venture capitalist, maybe she's an accountant. Either way, she has a pretty standard 9-to-5 schedule, so she can meet with other business people or with clients, and if she's not available to her clients when they need her, her bosses won't think she's doing a good job. Now, compare that to a scientist who works in a lab. Most of her work is self-directed, and it doesn't really matter when she runs her experiments, as long as she gets them done. If she gets her work done, her bosses think she's doing a good job. For the millions of women in jobs that demand very specific hours, the wage gap is larger than it is for women in jobs with more flexible hours. And there's one job where we can see this really clearly. In the 1970s, women pharmacists earned about 66% of what men did. Pharmacies used to be mostly independent businesses, where a single pharmacist might be responsible for keeping a shop open whenever people needed it. Today, most pharmacies are owned by large chains, and they stay open longer, which means they need more pharmacists. Women pharmacists now have a lot more options, and a 6 a.m. to 2 p.m. shift is just as good as a 9-to-5 shift. Nobody really gets rewarded for working exceptionally long hours. And the wage gap for pharmacists has shrunk dramatically. Today, female pharmacists make 92% of what their male counterparts do. Of course, we can't all be pharmacists. There will always be jobs where it's important to work particular hours. But there are also lots of jobs where hours could potentially become more flexible than they are right now. And the research tells us that the more we can make that work, the more the wage gap is going to shrink.
That was That was a pretty good one, though. I'm not gonna lie. I like that one. That one gave some newer information. Damn, I can't use my takeover no more. Holy shit. Hey. Come on, bro. You gotta hit that, bro. Keep losing my takeover because I'm not fucking playing. Come on, and then I'm not concentrating on that shot. Sheesh. Damn. Bad shot.
Used to be a laughingstock. It was ridiculous with headlines about finally. The metaverse used to be a laughingstock. It was ridiculous with headlines. The metaverse used to be a laughingstock. It was ridiculous with headlines about finally adding legs, or the fact that it feels like an abandoned mall, or obviously the Wii Sports tier graphics. For almost 2 years since the first announcement, people have laughed at it, thinking that it was a joke, a catastrophic mistake by Mark Zuckerberg, billions wasted on these terrible cartoonish characters. People everywhere online were talking about the end of the metaverse, why the metaverse will never be successful, and ever since it's always been laughed at, never taken seriously, until now. In a recent episode on Lex Friedman's podcast with Mark Zuckerberg, reality set in as Mark Zuckerberg blew away all expectations.
The following is a conversation with Mark Zuckerberg inside the metaverse. Mark and I are hundreds of miles apart from each other in physical space, but it feels like we're in the same room because we appear to each other as photorealistic codec avatars in 3D with spatial audio. This technology is incredible, and I think it's the future of how human beings connect to each other in a deeply meaningful way on the internet.
Using some facial scans and some experimental headsets, it became clear to everyone that VR is getting scarily realistic. Whilst this was only a tech demo, the new technology is able to transmit detailed facial expressions data in real time. These are overlaid onto a 3D model, giving seamless photorealism to what used to be a cartoonish joke. And it's just the latest of a whole warehouse of Pandora's boxes that the tech industry has been opening. From ChatGPT preparing for full AI integration with smartphones, to Meta's new smart glasses and headsets, we are standing on the precipice of a holographic future. The biggest recent development is obviously the new technology that was shown off in the podcast. It was conducted completely as VR avatars, with a split screen showing each layer of it. First, the reality of Zuckerberg and Friedman wearing VR headsets and headphones. Then, the 3D imaging facial scan, and finally the accurate real-time VR image they were both seeing. To say it's an upgrade is a massive understatement. Meta went from these goofy looking uncanny valley characters to nearly photorealism. But how did they make the jump so quickly, and why didn't they make a bigger deal out of this? Well, we're still a little way off of seeing this as a consumer product. According to Zuckerberg, the scans took hours using a specialized machine at Meta's offices. And even then, they only really capture the head and the shoulders. The arms, torso, and the rest are a little bit trickier and seemingly out of reach for now. But if technology has proven anything, it's that once you see these sorts of things in tech demos, it won't be long before we see them in reality. Computers the size of a room shrunk down to a small box in barely a decade, while getting more powerful by an order of magnitude. And it won't be long before you can spend a couple of minutes scanning yourself with a smartphone, then use this technology straight afterwards. And the uses for this technology are almost infinite, and they aren't all insidious, but they do seem wrong in some way. Lots of people are discussing the possibility of bringing back the dead as digital avatars. Using AI models of their personality, combined with this technology, would create a realistic visage that could speak as that person. With a decent scan, you could talk to anyone, from your own lost loved ones to the greatest figures from history. It's an unsettling idea.
And let's check this guy out.
Let's get medieval, player.
He's Snoop.
I mean, who hasn't wanted to play a text, adventure game with Snoop Dogg?
They won't really be those people, of course, just whatever the AI model thinks they are. combined with a 3D model. But having them right in front of you combined with the way AI can seamlessly mimic human expressions is frightening. And you can easily imagine how this will impact our own lives. If the technology is there, people will be using it for this purpose, there's no denying it. But how can people be expected to move on with their lives? Having constant access to a representation of someone you lost could be like torture. However realistic it gets, you simply can't reduce people down into a set of responses in a 3D image. Whatever Meta, OpenAI or Apple come up with won't ever compare to real people for a long time, maybe never. This technology might help the grieving process for some people, but it will just draw it out or stop it entirely for others, leaving people in an awful limbo stage. The problem is just one part though of how this technology will draw people away from reality and further into our digital world. The more realistic VR becomes, the more people will be sucked away from the real world. We're already seeing the start of this everywhere. When you look around, you see people retreating into their phones mid-conversation, or like how some people seem to live their entire lives online, with most people spending around 4 to 6 hours a day just on their phone. And Meta's gamble is simple. As the world keeps getting worse in this crisis and VR gets more realistic and enticing, more people will get hooked. Every new part of life they can synthesize will be plugged into the metaverse. Alarmingly, in the Lex Fridman podcast episode, Zuck kept describing the end goal of Meta, blending the digital and the real world together so that reality is practically indistinguishable.
Another thing that I think is going to be fascinating about being able to blend together the digital and physical worlds in this way is we're also going to be able to embody AIs as well.
And what's scary is that when you're watching this podcast, you realize he's right. This is coming. This is the future. Already our minds are already interconnected with this digital realm. We find ourselves increasingly connected to virtual spaces. Almost subconsciously, our devices have begun to function as an extension of our very consciousness, with our memories, preferences, secrets, passions, emotions, all attached to the virtual world. However, when our very existence and cultural fabric become enmeshed in this realm, it's a moment for profound reflection, and is leading to what the philosopher Robert Nozick coined the experience machine. And his idea of the experience machine eerily mirrors the essence of the metaverse. In his thought experiment, he imagined a device that could be attached to one's brain, stimulating it to experience boundless euphoria. And if people were asked to experience this, most people would decline, as they would want a life imbued with purpose, not just constant undeserved happiness. But let's push the boundaries a little bit here. What if there existed a mechanism that could somehow trigger infinite significance, constantly giving you purpose in a digital world? Perhaps this is the precipice we're standing on now, with the metaverse offering a semblance of meaning and an avenue to escape loneliness by connecting all of us around the world in this digital world controlled by Zuck. From shopping, from businesses, social events, family gatherings, job interviews, all these memories, moments, and purpose within a world controlled by Meta. And in this world, you'll possess the capability to chase any pleasure you like, to craft any life that you dream of. And it may all feel consequential, like it would in the real world, but it's just a mirage, designed to ensnare you within the metaverse's intricate web of control. In essence, the metaverse would become the ultimate intoxicant. And this isn't as far-fetched as you might think. Sean Parker, former Facebook president, has openly acknowledged the toxic influence that Facebook has over the autonomy of its users. He even revealed that when Facebook engineers conceived the platform, their primary objective was, in his words, to take as much of your time and consciousness as possible.
How do we consume as much of your time and conscious attention as possible? And that means that we need to sort of give you a little dopamine hit every once in a while.
Describing it almost like a narcotic, as he went on to say that Facebook fundamentally alters your connection with society and with one another.
The unintended consequences of a network when it grows to 1 billion or 2 billion people, and it literally changes your relationship with society, with each other, with it probably interferes with productivity in weird ways.
And this is the bare bones Facebook he's talking about. What about an entire reality, an entire universe? And when he said this a few years ago, it barely gained any attention, and still, there seems to be no attention on this fact with the metaverse coming into our lives. No one seems to care about this. No one seems to care that our freedom is slowly going to be eroded in a world created by someone who calls his users dumb fucks. And as almost all of us are so addicted to our screens today, what's it going to be like when we start living in the ultimate experience machine, designed by someone who wants to addict your consciousness to it? The whole linchpin of metaverse success hinges on its ability to keep users glued to their screens, ensuring a constant influx of money. And it seems like very soon this is going to happen, as Zuckerberg announced his new smart glasses.
The next generation of Ray-Ban Meta smart glasses.
Meta's headset, just the first step. Get ready for Elon Musk's Neuralink plugging into your brain, coupled with AI indistinguishable from reality. It won't be long before Tesla's androids are walking around our streets. And just like the dot-com bubble, markets are eating up this vision of the future, although what's being sold as market salvation is actually growth in just 7 tech stocks. Opportunities that are long overhyped and overpriced by the time we get to them.
This is his advertisement portion of the video. Hold on, let's get... Yeah, there we go. Let's get back to it.
Sell in minutes, and there's a waitlist to join, but you can get special access to skip that waitlist at the link in the description below. You see, Meta's vision down the road is to enable fully immersive augmented reality entirely within the glasses. This is still a long way off, but this next generation brings us a whole lot closer. The inclusion of AI is the most advanced feature of these.
But the most interesting thing about this isn't any of those specs. It's that these are the first smart glasses that are built and shipping with Meta AI in them.
These glasses will bring it into the forefront of people's lives, literally seeing what they see. Right now, Meta is promising things like translating foreign text. Tomorrow, they'll be able to give you subtitles for what other people are saying in real time, or tell you how much longer you need to cook your dinner. Lots of these uses will only be good for people. It'll be revolutionary for people who have trouble hearing, for example. But on the other hand, it'll make people far more reliant on technology to go about their daily lives. When this happens, people forget these skills. Generally, we don't know which berries are safe to eat or how to chase down an antelope for dinner. It obviously doesn't matter anymore. Their skills we lost as they became redundant. Similarly, as the AI gets more advanced, it will be able to do more and more thinking for you. But our ability to see and understand the world around us shouldn't be something we get machines to do for us. It's like adding train wheels to your own brain. Another selling point for Meta is its integration with Facebook and Instagram. With these glasses, people can constantly be recording their lives and everything around them. They can then live stream it or instantly post it online. It's the next way that Meta's found to break down the barrier between the real world and the virtual one. A slight reduction in the delay between you and social media. Never mind privacy, if such a thing even exists today, something that Mark Zuckerberg actively doesn't care about. And Meta's plausible deniability about this comes from the little red LED that they put on the front to tell people when you're recording. But if you just cover that up, like your laptop webcam, nobody would ever know. Just by wearing these though, you're already hooked into Meta's digital world. But they're not the only company looking to centralize and dominate the AI market, of course. There is something equally as sinister happening with Microsoft and OpenAI, who are also getting in on the craze. As it was recently announced just a few days ago that OpenAI and the designer of the iPhone, Johnny Ive, are now collaborating on a project touted as the iPhone of Artificial Intelligence, marking OpenAI's debut into consumer devices. Backed by a $1 billion SoftBank investment, this early-stage venture, also involving SoftBank subsidiary Arm & Chip Design, aims to merge advanced AI with superior design to craft a consumer-centric AI device. While discussions are ongoing and an official agreement is yet to be reached, the product, spearheaded by OpenAI CEO Sam Altman and supported by Johnny Ive's design acumen, is anticipated to hit the market in just a few years. Now, while OpenAI's trajectory seems likened to iPhone's revolutionary journey, I can't help but feel this is far more dystopian and marks a turning point in human history into a future where AI replaces human intuition and creativity. And their partnership with Microsoft and many other companies hints at a coming world where monopolies control not just technology, but human cognition itself. And their vision of an AI, as user-centric as the iPhone, might just be the chain that binds humanity to a future of digital AI servitude. Now, Apple, for all its flaws, does have some semblance of prioritizing user privacy. In contrast, OpenAI's proclamations of ethical AI seem like hollow reassurances when you consider the fact that Microsoft got rid of all of their ethics departments. You see, the path they're caving towards this iPhone of AI isn't a road to enlightenment, but to a world of more control, more inequality, and more importantly, less freedom. Whilst the iPhone was a beacon of innovation, this new AI interface, if unchecked, could soon be the tool that erodes the very fabric of human individuality and freedom. And yet at the same time, it almost feels inevitable because of the lack of government oversight in this area. I mean, the stark reality right now is that corporations, YouTubers, entrepreneurs, even workers that don't integrate AI will soon fall behind from the pack, overshadowed by those who embrace the AI revolution. Even if AI performs on par with or slightly below human capabilities, the economic benefits for businesses are undeniable. And so imagine this on a greater scale when AI does overcome humanity, when its IQ reaches levels that we can't even fathom. Soon we'll have a new phone, a new computer, a new system that is far more complex than anything a human brain can even comprehend. And the reason governments aren't stopping this is because the governments that can harness superior AI will also inevitably outpace their counterparts. So everybody in society right now has to jump into the AI revolution or be left with nothing. That's why we see no regulation here. That's why we see no pushback against this stuff, and why it's taking over the world so rapidly. Which is what freaks me out so much about OpenAI's new movement. Nobody can stop them, and nobody wants to. When all the world's top tech leaders like Elon Musk, Steve Wozniak, and many more had their proposal to pause AI research completely ignored by all governments and companies, no one cares about the potential risks. Everybody wants the profit and the control, and it mirrors this classic prisoner's dilemma, where organizations hesitant about AI or those considering regulations can't even trust the competitors to adopt the same restraint. So everybody keeps going forward, even though they know at the end of the day, this is the endgame for humanity. And even if a consensus ever did emerge, there's always skepticism that global powers like China or Russia would halt their endeavors. And it's the same with companies. If OpenAI or Microsoft stops, then Google, Apple, Meta will take over. And so every one of these big tech companies is pushing forward. And if these American companies aren't the ones that succeed, then it might be Chinese AI companies succeed, completely altering the geopolitical sphere. And that's why right now, we are witnessing a race analogous to that of the atomic bomb's creation, but the stakes and potential fallouts might be even graver. Mo Gadwat, the ex-head of Google's AI department and an expert in AI technology, just recently painted one of the most chilling pictures of AI's unchecked potential.
Everything, the speed at which those machines were learning is staggering, but at the same time, the understanding we have about why they learn, why they do what they do, is very, very limited.
With OpenAI now officially giving ChatGPT the ability to connect to the internet, OpenAI can now amass and manipulate information at a rate that leaves human comprehension in the dust. And their journey towards the iPhone of AI is fraught with all the dangers that Mo Gadwat warned of, where AI eventually reaches singularity, the potential point of no return. Because once AI surpasses human intelligence, it will spiral into a self-improving frenzy, evolving at speeds unimaginable to us. It'll speak to us like Einstein speaking to the lowest IQ person about relativity. They won't be able to even comprehend what the words mean. And so in a few years, how are we even going to control something that evolves faster than our comprehension? How do we instill ethics in an entity that just sees them as mere constraints? Especially when Microsoft is already getting rid of OpenAI's ethical departments. We are dancing on the razor's edge between unparalleled advancements and catastrophic consequences.
The man widely seen as the godfather of artificial intelligence has quit his job at Google, warning of the dangers of AI. In a lengthy interview with the New York Times, Dr. Hinton said he now regretted his work and is worried that AI technology will flood the internet with misinformation.
And OpenAI's quest for the iPhone of AI is more than just a mission, it's a gamble with humanity. A gamble on whether AI will become an integral beneficial part of our daily lives, as the iPhone did, or whether it will spiral into an uncontrollable force, leaving humanity grappling with the aftermath of its own creation. As of now, the future of technology is looking incredibly similar to the present, completely controlled by a small set of monolithic companies designed to suck out as much of your time, attention, and money as possible. By meddling with the fabric of society, these companies will make hundreds of billions. AI and VR will only let them become more efficient at infiltrating people's lives and destroying freedom.
There you have it. We're doomed. But yeah, fuck it. 2 tears in a bucket. What are we supposed to do about that? Nothing.
In these rather complicated times, we're all in need of positive thinking. And yet the term has been so abused in the last 25 years, it seems worthwhile to devote some time trying to clarify basic values. We know, for example, that a kind of attitude, a sort of self-hypnosis, in which the individual, surrounded by his troubles and unable to solve any of them, tries to take an attitude of everything being all right. This does not work. The person, knowing in himself that his optimism is not founded upon anything basic, lacks the courage of conviction and lacks the ability to believe his own constructive affirmation. It is obvious, therefore, that he has to dig deeper to find the basis or level or foundation upon which to build optimism. Some take the attitude that the more we know, the more we understand. This also is a mixed blessing, because experience shows us that increase of knowledge frequently brings with it an increasing ability to estimate difficulties on the level of recognizing more problems than the thoughtless person or the uninformed person ever has to face. If we are serious, if we are students of world affairs, if we have a certain ability to project existing patterns into the future toward their reasonable conclusions, we may also have considerable difficulty in maintaining a positive attitude. It is very easy to take the ground that things are bad, that we can reasonably and rationally expect the worst, and from such thinking, we certainly do not come to personal comfort. So mere increase of knowledge or increase of thoughtfulness will not balance the symptomologies that we see around us in the world. So again, we have to search elsewhere for the foundation of personal security. And perhaps the seat of it, as in most cases with our complex psychological organization, lies in our emotions. The individual who is emotionally constructive is generally constructive on all other levels. The emotions are the mainspring of our attitude. And the mind, because it is forever attempting to justify the emotions, will rationalize according to them. So we may say definitely that the potential of a constructive attitude lies deep within the total personality of the individual. There are persons who seemingly are born with the power to retain a positive viewpoint on life. These are not the persons who have had the easiest kind of living. Sometimes their burdens are far heavier than those of the pessimists. They are moving, however, from a basic personal position. They are moving from a series of kindly, constructive, creative emotions. They are friendly by nature. They are idealistic. They are tolerant. They are patient. And they are non-critical in their way of thinking. All of these general attitudes together will add up to a more positive approach to life. Now, we may say that if an attitude rises from the emotions, it is not demonstrable. That is, we cannot prove it. Perhaps we will be termed foolish. Perhaps we will be regarded as blind to the possibility of worry. This type of blindness offends our friends because they all feel that a responsible person should be miserable. And if we do not take on the general miasma of the time, then we are irresponsible. Actually, a positive attitude can no more be defined than human affections can be defined. We know that love is a reality, but the moment we analyze it, it evaporates. It has to be accepted as a total way of life. The individual who loves well, by instinct, not by attained powers, who has a naturally lovable way with them, will also usually be a constructive thinker and will hold a constructive attitude toward personal circumstances. One of the greatest dangers that we have, which forever interferes with constructive thinking, is self-centeredness. The individual whose mind is constantly focused upon society only in terms of himself will generally find difficulty, not because perhaps the society in which he lives is difficult, but because he is establishing a relationship with society. The total personality which we have as a result of all of our psychic overtones either bestows or demands. And if this total personality demands, we will have trouble. If it bestows, we have a much greater probability of personal happiness. Happiness is something, therefore, which has to be given. The person who possesses it can have more. The person who does not possess it will lose whatever fragments of it seem to belong to him. It is like one of the treasures mentioned in the Bible, that those who have little, from them is taken that which they have. And this is true of peace of mind. The less we have, the more vulnerable we are to lose those few landmarks that we are clinging to. Thus we recognize that society applauds and appreciates the individual who gives something, not necessarily of what he has, but of what he is as a person. The individual can give of graciousness, and graciousness overcomes countless obstacles which would otherwise be baffling and discouraging. The individual can give of patience, and by so doing can very often reduce the pressure of obstacles. The individual can give of thoughtfulness or of consideration for those around them. Such an individual is rewarded by a different attitude from these other people.
That shit.
Constructive thinking, therefore, must begin within the person, and if it so begins, it will be observed as reacting upon that person benevolently. Society is a kind of mirror in which each one of us sees our own natures and temperaments reflected. When we make a grimace at someone else, society grimaces back at us, or seems to do so. And nearly always, the person who has had what we might term disillusioning experiences is a person who has not given very much of their own inner security. They have not had it to give. Now, there is a great deal of difference between giving of what we are and what we have. And there are persons who have given a tremendous amount of certain kinds of specialized thought and emotion, who apparently have not only not been rewarded, but have been penalized. So we have these folks who have done their duties carefully, honestly, sincerely for years, and are miserable. They cannot understand why their sincere and conscientious effort to help other people has not given them greater happiness themselves. We have these folks all the time coming in with their problems, and immediately we recognize one quality that they have in common, namely that they do not personally radiate any kind of positive or optimistic tempo or vibration. They are sad, depressed, frustrated, discouraged, forlorn, and embittered. All these things because what they believe to be their kindly deeds have either been repulsed or not appreciated. Actually, the trouble lay in this psychochemical foundation. There are some persons who, no matter how much good they do, will always do it badly. They have a positive genius for trying to help others and, in the end, are disliked and objected to.
Attribute reached.
There is almost always, however, a reason for this. And this reason lies in the spirit behind the deed. The spirit was too heavy. It rumbled and rolled along until people grew very weary of being helped or being encouraged by someone who never showed encouragement themselves. This heavy way of doing things, this dismal, dutiful way, this way sometimes intensified by a powerful psychic drive, which did not represent kindness, but force. This forceful service of others is nearly always rejected in the end. The person cannot win that way. Perhaps the most common and needed of all commodities in our civilization is a kindly smile. Someone who really has a little internal positive libido to radiate. They may not do anything, but if they have the right attitude in themselves, their very presence is a blessing and a benediction. These people do not find this world too bad because they simply do not accept a kind of world that is different from themselves. If we take this as the basis of constructive attitude, it is no longer a platitude or an affirmation. It is no longer a desperate effort to seem happy while miserable. It is a simple discovery of values that have been known to be there from the beginning. Sometimes if we look back through the years towards childhood, we can see how this particular emotion acts and how it develops. We know that there are periods in life, in the life of each person, when they had some comparative happiness. They looked forward optimistically and hopefully to a world ahead. It was romantic and roseate and full of charm and promise. This person may be living in us. A person who ruled us 20 years ago has slowly disappeared from our conscious thinking.
Oh, it's
and yet
Manly
this
P. Hall.
person and the world in which that person lived still exists. But we have drifted toward disillusionment and embitterment and have lost contact with this kindly optimism which we once possessed. We look back and we may say we were pretty foolish in those days to see everything so wonderful, when in reality it was not wonderful at all. We are pretty foolish in these days to look around us and see everything terrible, when things probably are not really that bad at all. But we associate maturity with disillusionment and disenchantment, and sort of feel that as we grow older,
I think I just
we
made it
must
to
be just a
94.
little bit sad and disillusioned in order to measure our years. Actually, maturity and disillusionment are not synonyms. Maturity should bring with it a powerful power or means of appreciation. It should give us much more to live for and much more to live with than is possible in childhood. Yet so often, as we go along, we are embittered by the experiences of living. Once we are embittered,
that can be gold.
Once we become psychologically negative, it becomes a pernicious habit, extremely difficult to break. Each time we fall into one of these negative moods, everything around us seems to prove that we are justified. And thus we continue to build, accumulating more and more evidence to sustain our loss of optimism and constructive thinking. Thus we have to go back to the emotional coloring.
If you play that though, like, you ain't really got to buy VC if you play my NBA or whatever. But yeah, I spend a little bit on VC. You got to get VC if you're trying to do this game mode. It sucks, but it is what it is, you know. I don't even play it that much no more either. Sheesh. Oh, that's what I should have got too. I forgot to get skill boost last night. Damn, that's fucked. I could have been cooking up a little bit better. Damn. Well, yeah, I should have bought that shit last night. Yeah, it's pay to win basically. I mean, if like I spent $150 on just VC, I'm about to spend $9,000 right now just to make my player a little bit better. Or is this a placebo? I mean, I know it's not, but the player plays a little faster and all that with this skill boost and shit. So like, I mean, you gotta literally play it with it every game if you wanna like play rec competition, you know, sweats and shit like that, or pro-am. But even if you just want to have the player that you already paid for play the, you know, at its best possible ability that it can play, but without boost, it's definitely a pay to win just for boost, but all this other shit too. And I don't know, like, you know, it sucks, but they know the black community and everybody loves this game, so they gonna exploit us as much as possible. I mean, the season pass, I don't even know, did I buy that? Yeah, I mean, I listen to this stuff all the time. It's philosophy, you know, esoteric mythology or mysticism and shit like that, alchemy. So I mean, he talks about alchemy sometimes too. Manly P. Hall, Alan Watts, this guy down here, Carl Jung. This one's actually pretty good, Psychology and Alchemy. That shit's all good, man. But self-mastery is the most important thing through our maturation process of life, so you might as well, you know, in the meantime, in between time, you know, level up on some intellectual, you know, philosophy and shit. What's my favorite team in basketball? My favorite team is probably the Clippers because my dad's favorite team is the Lakers, and I was always trying to like be different, or, you know, than my dad. But yeah, I think the Clippers, I like the Lakers a lot, but you know, just out of spite, I'm a Clippers fan. And in LA, when I grew up, it was cheaper to get Clippers tickets than it was goddamn the Lakers, you know. So when the first game I ever went to was a Clippers game. against like the Timberwolves or something like that. The Lakers tickets is too expensive though. Shoot, earlier, man, I was in here. If you didn't see the video, the live earlier, I was watching about the wage gap because people think there's a wage gap between men and women. But in 1963, we had the Equal Pay Act, which makes it so that there's no wage gap. So yeah, I'll be over here chilling, researching and shit too, while playing 2K. Because why not, you know? Oh, 2 years ago? I'm over here reading the chat, cooking up. I just did some shit that I should do more often. That was crazy. 2 years ago, I've been playing basketball all my life, bro. I'm 40 years old. I've been playing basketball since, I could dribble. You know what I mean? And probably like 7 or 8, maybe. And then I've been playing 2K ever since 2K came out. So I've been playing it for like, shit. What is this, 2K25? I've been playing it for like 25 years, this game. Which is crazy. I had him on my hip. Yeah. The Hawks, yeah, Trae Young is cool. I like him. Ice Trae. The guy. Oh, there was a series or something on TV or something? Oh, yeah. Oh, the series when they played. Oh, okay, yeah. Got you hooked. Yeah, basketball is my favorite. I think Allen Iverson, watching Allen Iverson play got me hooked. I was like small and stuff, and I played already, but once I seen Allen Iverson go from Georgetown to you know, the 76ers and then cooking up Jordan, I was like, damn. Yeah, I'm 40. But 2K, Allen Iverson, man. Shit, that's what made me grow my hair too. I started growing my hair. Hey, let me hit that. Come on. This dude is like a mid-range guy. He don't really shoot threes, but I still shoot threes with him every now and again. Yeah. I look young. People card me. I live in Las Vegas. People card me all the time if I go like in a casino. Come on, man. What is he doing? Sheesh. Look at that. Green. Said I've only been playing for 2 years. I'm already the best in my school. That's tight. Yeah, basketball is a real like fundamental and technical sport. So if you get the fundamentals down and you got good footwork and you keep your dribble alive, it's definitely a real fun game. Definitely keeps you in shape, keep you out of trouble. There's a lot of you know, positive reasons to be playing a sport, especially basketball, because you only need a ball and a hoop. It's not like other games where it's expensive. You need a bunch of equipment and stuff, you know, like football, you need a helmet, you need pads, you need a bunch of other people and a football. Basketball, though, it's spread all over the world now. When I grew up, it wasn't very popular outside of America. They were trying to globalize the sport. Sheesh. Yeah, soccer, exactly. Oh, I forgot you could do that. I'm just still right now trying to learn how to do all the moves because they change the dribbling a little bit every year. Hey, yeah, basketball is more fun. And it's like less of a, like, you know, I mean, I don't know, soccer's cool too. My dad always wanted me to play soccer because I'm Spanish, Native American, and black. So my dad always be like, Mexicans, you know, because it's kind of convoluted, but he says like Mexicans don't play basketball, but that was in the 80s. Now there's Mexicans that play basketball. So he thought he was being funny by trying to discourage me. But I was too short. I'm too short to play basketball like at a high level. Unless you're like Muggsy Bogues or Spud Webb or something. But like I said, that's why I liked Allen Iverson. He was pretty short for his height and he was dominating. Yeah, exactly. Like, yeah, the foreign players are dominating like Jokic, MVP. And like I said, fundamentals, technique, IQ. Oh, that's what he got. Yeah. Well, I mean, I felt like I was always good enough. Left hand, right hand, you know what I mean? But I'm just not tall enough, really. If I was at least like 5'11", you know what I mean? 6 foot, 5'11", 6 foot or something, maybe. But yeah, it's tough, especially now basketball is positionless. So yeah, people are tall at every position. Back in the day, like point guards would be the small guys and shit, but now you could have a point guard that's hella tall, even though Magic was 6'8" playing point guard, but he was Magic. Doesn't count, you know what I mean? Ooh. Oh, I always do that. Trying to do that fucking sidestep move. Yeah, we playing D1, yeah. I had a friend that was real good in high school named Jimmy Miggins. We all thought he was going to the NBA. He could dunk. He dunked like almost every play. Played center. But then when he went to college, he realized, holy shit, these guys are serious. And they're all tall. So he wasn't taller than everybody anymore. So, I mean, he didn't make it to the league, but it was definitely difficult. And he was like 6'5" maybe or something. Pretty tall in high school. Maybe 6'7", I don't know. But yeah, I used to have to play point guard all the time, so I could shoot threes good, floaters, dribble, pass. You know, I like pass a lot though. I'm a pass and push the ball kind of point guard because, like I said, I'm old, so that's what like the point guards used to do back in the day. But now point guards get to shoot a lot, so that's cool because I also like to shoot. So, ooh. But not with this character. This character can't shoot that great. Like I said, from 3, at least. The mid-range, this character got like a 92 for mid-range. But I don't know what his 3 is right now. It's good enough, but not good enough for limitless range type 3s. Hey! Yeah. I've been streaming for like, what, a year and a half, maybe almost 2 years now. Yes, smaller streamers, at least you'll be able to interact with them. You know what I mean? Because I used to watch streams and stuff, and I say something to smaller streamers, and they'll reply back or whatever. But like the bigger streamers, they can't even see your messages sometimes. So it's tough. It's like a sea of people. And then like, now that I am a streamer, it sucks because like, if I go to like another person's channel with this user account, they won't say my name in the chat because they'll think, you know, advertising it, so they just won't say my name. But if I go on my other account that doesn't have this logo and everything and this name, they'll say my name in the chat. Like, what's up? Hey, thanks for showing up and stuff. Still focused, man. What's good? But if it says you people live, they ignore it. Oh, because they don't want to give a shout out to another channel. And it's funny too, because it's like, I don't know. It's not like anybody is competition. You know what I mean? No competition but yourself. There's, you know, because you can make a list of all the things that's stopping you from accomplishing your goals, but you got to put your name at the top of that list, because the only thing stopping us from doing shit is ourselves. Oh, in the league right now, I mean, who's my favorite player? I like LaMelo Ball just because he brings like the new generation. You know, I like that. Who else? LaMelo Ball, you know, just not really off how good he is though, or whatever. But obviously LeBron and like Kyrie Irving, because he's like a conspiracy theorist that think the world's earth is flat and shit. Who else? Shoot, I mean, I'm a fan of the league just period, so I just like basketball, but I don't know, I really don't have a favorite player that much other than like the older guys. The younger guys, I'm still watching, you know what I mean? I was hoping that fucking Zion was gonna be better, but Zion has just been getting girls pregnant and shit. And like being injured, apparently. Yeah, Kyrie. He got the handles. He got the Uncle Drew. I think it's Uncle Drew, right? Yeah, Uncle Drew. He got the movies. Hey. Kyrie. And he's kind of reminds me of Allen Iverson, you know. Little guy, plays point guard, but really a two guard. But Giannis is cool. I just don't like watching him play my teams because, it's annoying watching Giannis just do a dribble to his left hand, spin back to his right, and try to, you know, brute strength the ball into the rim. Paul George is a finesse player. I like Paul George too. Kyle Korver was sick, yeah, back in the day. 3-point specialist. I like Kyle Korver too because his moving without the ball. A lot of people don't realize how important moving without the ball is. But you know, when you speak about fundamentals and technique, moving without the ball is like very important, right? Yeah, shooter's gonna shoot. That's the thing about the people like Kyle Korver and shooters, they just shoot. Move to the next play. Don't get too frustrated, don't get too high, too low. Oh shit, this is a close one. It's only 33-32. Appropriate numbers. Oh shit. Oh, Lunch Break got a new video. Hold on real quick. We're finna watch this video. I ain't see he dropped a new video today. Alright, we're gonna watch this shit in a second too. Hold on. Watch that shit before I get off. What time is it, man? I kinda gotta go to the store and buy some shit, but I don't want to. So I might not. Oh. Hey. I don't know if there was. Oh, come on, bro. I just can't make a shot right now. Even though I'm on fire. It's because, like, when you're on fire, you take not worse shots, but I just released the shit a little faster, but I shouldn't. There. Yeah, see? It's only 3:15 out here. I still can go to the store. The sun's still out, shit. I just don't feel like it. Hey, ooh, another block. How do you get a block and then a foul? I already hit the ball. That's crazy, 2K. I hit the ball first. $2K cheating me, bro. But not yet. I'm gonna watch this video. See what lunch break got to talk about. Oh, it's already past halftime, so I might as well just watch it now. Fuck it. I was gonna say I'll wait till halftime, but fuck it.
This is my opinion, of course, but I think this is going to be a good episode to come back to for most people that would like to introduce someone new to this topic of the old world. Or a simple reminder of what we've been told is the truth versus what is really going on in front of our faces. Now, I have been seeing a few people across multiple platforms that haven't really looked into this topic that are saying that just because we have done this before and can see the buildings here in front of us, this automatically means that we are able to construct these buildings today if we wanted to, even though we never do and never will. We have all the tools and make mistakes all the time. Our buildings and bridges fall apart after 100 years, but the ones from the 1800s and much longer before that were built with perfection and not one flaw, thrown together in less than a year, without blinking an eye. It was simple. Perfect stonework, never a mistake. Remember, in 2023, we use actual construction companies. We have the tools. Not slaves, not prisoners, not horses and wagons. We are supposed to be so much better than the people of the 1800s. This is what they tell us. This is the mainstream narrative. Evolution, of course. But we have proven time and time again that the people from the 1800s built Capitol buildings over and over and over in less than a year. Basilicas, cathedrals, all over the world. They get burned to the ground by a fire. And then a few short months later, the old one is all cleaned up and a new one is there forever. They could knock out entire towns in a few months, entire World's Fairs. They supposedly were able to build these buildings so fast, so well, with untrained workers, people that have never constructed anything before, prisoners, people that went to jail for any reason at all. They could all build cathedrals in every country, in every town, in every century, except for this one that we're in today. They built so many of them and so fast that they could just afford to knock them all down when they were done. This is what we're told, of course. In my opinion, none of this happened. In my opinion, these buildings are from the previous civilization, and our entire history timeline is a complete fabrication. And this is proven time and time again. And the fire story gives it all away, every time. Let's expose the lies even further. Welcome to episode 41 of My Lunch Break. I hope you're...
This dude's videos is cool as hell, though. Like, he'll Google a cathedral that's been there for like a long time, and you can look at Wikipedia and it'll say they built it in like 2-3 years, 1 year sometimes. So it's a conspiracy, but I mean, it's kind of trippy still, you know.
You're all having a great day, and if you're new, welcome. In the homeschool section, well, Lady Lacey shows us. More specifically, Maddie Kevs, Christopher Arietta, Millicent, The Lady Lacey Show, Edwin Johnson, Home Guard Goes Hard, David and Shay Ferguson,
Nobody looks
and Nazir Premier. You guys are all awesome and helping this channel out a lot.
I mean,
here we are.
You may see that this video has he got almost 35,000 subscribers. And only 2,000 people watched it, but it's only been up for an hour, right? But like, it'll probably get more views later on, you know, in the month and the following weeks. But the people you talk to in real life have no idea about this stuff. You know what I mean? Like, even though 30,000 people are subscribed to this, like, people in real life don't think about none of this shit.
In Texas, more specifically, 414 St. Joseph Street, Gonzales, Texas. description, and you can use my referral code, MLB. The app is awesome. It shows a lot of videos that are really hard to find. They've got them all in great playlists. He also has my lunch break on the homeschool section of the app, which is really cool. Thank you for that. Thank you to Rebecca Kay, Don Gaston, Jason Brunson, Maddie Kevs, Christopher Arietta, Millicent, The Lady Lacey Show, Edwin John, are all awesome and helping this channel out a lot. Here we are in Texas, more specifically, 414 St. Joseph Street, Gonzales, Texas. And why are we here? Well, they have the Gonzales County Courthouse. And in my opinion, the narrative is lying. Are we all ready? Here we go. The contract was awarded to Furman Morin on June 26, 1894. But wait, there's something weird going on here. We're told that this wasn't the first courthouse on this site. This is the second building to serve as the county courthouse. Well, what do you mean this wasn't the first one? What happened to the first one? The first Gonzales County Courthouse burned down on December 3rd, 1893.
They always burn
Do you
down.
notice how fast they tried to throw that in there? It was like they thought we wouldn't notice or something. Of course we will. This is what we do. Look at how they worded it, too. They didn't even say the first building or the first courthouse. They just quickly say, the first burned on December 3rd, 1893. And they just want to move on like nothing happened.
That's it.
So we get the nod. Another fire story. Very interesting. And also the clear giveaway that this is a building from the past civilization. In my opinion, and a reminder that there was never a fire here on this site. This is simply a nod to their group that this building is from the old world. Now, let's continue shredding this nonsense apart. We are told that the second county courthouse was completed on April of 1896. The contract was awarded in June of 1894. They get their superintendent for the construction in 1895. And then in April of 1896, the building is done.
That's it,
And this all happens in basically 2 years after the first one burned down. And it's weird because it takes almost as much time to find the superintendent as it does to actually build the entire building. And it lasts forever. So let's get this straight. They are telling us that December 1893, the first one is in flame.
Check you out next time, bro. Thanks for stopping by, bro. Sheesh.
Maddie Kevs, Christopher Street, Gonzales, Texas. And why are we here? Well, they have the Gonzales County Courthouse. And in my opinion, the narrative is lying. Are we all ready? Here we go. The contract was awarded to Furman Morin on June 26, 1894. But wait, there's something weird going on here. We're told that this wasn't the first courthouse on this site. This is the second building to serve as the county courthouse. Well, what do you mean this wasn't the first one? What happened to the first one? The first Gonzales County Courthouse burned down on December 3rd, 1893. Do you notice how fast they tried to throw that in there? It was like they thought we wouldn't notice or something. Of course we will. This is what we do. Look at how they worded it, too. They didn't even say the first building or the first courthouse. They just quickly say, the first burned on December 3rd, 1893. And they just want to move on like nothing happened. So we get the nod. Another fire story. Very interesting. And also the clear giveaway that this is a building from the past civilization. In my opinion, and a reminder that there was never a fire here on this site. This is simply a nod to their group that this building is from the old world. Now, let's continue shredding this nonsense apart. We are told that the second county courthouse was completed on April of 1896. The contract was awarded in June of 1894. They get their superintendent for the construction in 1895. And then in April of 1896, the building is done. And this all happens in basically 2 years after the first one burned down. And it's weird because it takes almost as much time to find the superintendent as it does to actually build the entire building. And it lasts forever. So let's get this straight. They are telling us that December 1893, the first one is in flames. And we have no idea who built that one or anything about it. And don't ask any questions about that one. And then 6 months later, it's gone and all cleaned up by June of 1894. And the contract is ready to roll. And from June 1894, we wait until some point in time in 1895, so at least 6 months, but could have been 18 months. Since they don't share the information, we have to speculate. So let's meet in the middle. at 12 months to find a construction guy. And then he knocks this thing out somehow by April of 1896. Who believes that he did this in less than a year? How many people worked for him? It's just weird that they tell us that he was just an owner of a quarry that had limestone in it. Now all of a sudden, he is a construction superintendent guy that builds massive courthouses in a year. Wow, the 1800s were incredible. You could truly be anything you want back then. Amazing. And a total joke of a story. This is absolute insanity that this kind of stuff is what we are supposed to believe actually happened. We all understand that in order to build a massive courthouse, you would need to get all the materials there. We would need to have a proper amount of construction workers that are properly trained. This quarry owner can't just go build it himself. We would need the proper equipment. Incredible architecture. The planning had to be perfect. Using the specs that they give us on this courthouse, I asked ChatGPT a question, and the answer was eye-opening. I asked hypothetically, how long would it take to build a courthouse in 1895? And how many men would you need? I asked if it could give me a breakdown of how much material would be needed, and also include other details that are important in constructing a courthouse that covers 2.7 acres. I explained that it is a building in a Romanesque revival style with eclectic details, meaning it covers other types of architecture designs, and that it will be built with red brick and white limestone trim. Now, these are the specs that we are given from the mainstream narrative. This is what they tell us. They tell us this information because they have to. The thing is literally sitting here looking right at us. For anyone that wants to go look at it, you can walk right up to it and see it. Or you can see a picture of it as we are right now. So let's see what this AI tells us. We are told that constructing a courthouse in 1895 in the specs that they stated would have been a significant undertaking. And here is the breakdown. Just the design and planning would have taken pretty much a year. Just because it's 1895, you still need permits and approvals. This happened in 1895. This isn't cavemen days, where you just get to build massive buildings and not tell anyone about it. So the fact that they're ignoring this part of the story over and over is crazy. This would have taken another couple months. So then we move on to the materials. We are told that the amount of red brick needed would depend on the design and size of the courthouse. Courthouses that cover 2.7 acres could use hundreds of thousands to millions of bricks. This is an unbelievable amount of material just for bricks alone. The process in getting these materials to the site is not easy. So then the white limestone trim. 100,000 cubic feet of limestone. The wood for interior elements, including flooring, stairs, and doors. A substantial amount of wood would be required. Then we will need steel and glass, and not just any glass. They have to be perfect for windows in the Romanesque revival style. Now, of course, the best part, in my opinion, because they don't even mention any people that helped this quarry owner guy. The labor, the number of workers needed would vary. But constructing such a massive courthouse might require hundreds of laborers. Hundreds? And not a mention of one in this story? And this isn't even to build it in a year. This is just saying to build it in a respectable timeline. So to build it in a year, there had to be way more than hundreds of workers, like we're told. Amazing. Okay, you would need bricklayers, carpenters, masons. Oh, did I say that? Steel workers, and general laborers. When we are told that slaves and prisoners built these places in a year, just remember this and ask yourself if you think this is true or not. Now we have the construction time. Given the scale and complexity, construction could take several years, perhaps 3 to 5 years. The Romanesque revival style, with its ornate details, would require careful craftsmanship, which takes time. So these workers had to have been trained and been good at it, especially finishing it in a year. This is insane. How were these workers not world-renowned? Wouldn't there be statues of them? They probably could have made the statues themselves in their backyards in a couple of days, since they were so good at it. And now, of course, we have the ridiculous part of the transportation. Transporting materials to the construction site. And before we get into this, I want to mention this, that they don't mention this in the story. And I think they don't on purpose, because it is so insane. Here we go. Perhaps 3 to 5 years. The Romanesque revival style, with its ornate details, would require careful craftsmanship, which takes time. So these workers had to have been trained and been good at it, especially finishing it in a year. This is insane. How are these workers not world-renowned? Wouldn't there be statues of them? They probably could have made the statues themselves in their backyards in a couple of days, since they were so good at it. And now, of course, we have the ridiculous part of the transportation. Transporting materials to the construction site. And before we get into this, I want to mention this, that they don't mention this in the story. And I think they don't on purpose, because it is so insane. Here we go. Transporting materials to the construction site would require horses, wagons, and likely a nearby source of limestone. Okay, so the horses and wagons moved the 100,000 cubic feet of limestone from the quarry. What a joke. Now they will need tools, of course. You can't do this without tools. So here's the tools and equipment section. Tools of the time would include hammers, chisels, saws, cranes, and various other hand tools. Just hammering and chiseling away in 1895 to 1896 with their horses and wagons. The fact that they tell us these buildings go up all over the world in a year is such a lie, in my opinion. You'd need a source of water for mixing mortar, and for the workers. If it's a large project, which this one definitely is, you might even need on-site housing for the workers, which they don't have on-site housing for the workers. Have you ever seen a narrative say this? No, they ignore the actual logistics in every narrative. You need people to build these places, and people need things, such as housing, food, water. This is common sense, yet never mentioned. Stone carvers and artisans would be required for this work. What was their names? Did the quarry owner do that himself? No. Which company had pro stone carvers and artisans? And of course, supervision. You'd need a skilled supervisor and project managers to ensure the work proceeds smoothly and to quality standards. And this is literally the only part that we are given. The only part we are given is the person that should be watching over all of the things that actually have to happen. I'm going to put this in sports terms. They're basically telling us the name of the coach for the Patriots, and then forgetting to tell us all about Tom Brady, or the coach's name of the Lakers and the Bulls, and not saying anything about Kobe, LeBron, Michael Jordan, or Dennis Rodman. All we get is Phil Jackson and Frank Vogel. This is insane. This is not working anymore. So I asked it to be more specific with the timeline. I said, so in all, how long would this all take? It responded with this. Given the complexity and scale of constructing a courthouse, covering 2.7 acres in the Romanesque Revival style, with red brick and white limestone trim, in 1895, the entire process could take 1 year to just design and plan it. Another several months to permitting and approvals, several more months to a year for the materials, and 3 to 5 years to build the building. So in total, it mathematically and logistically should take anywhere from 4.5 years to 7.5 years. This is unbelievable, considering so many times we are told that a building goes down in a fire and then another one is built in a few months. This kind of brushing it off with a few months kind of thing isn't working anymore. And I don't want to end the episode yet. I want to go even deeper and even more specific. So I asked, how many horses would they need for this project?
How many horses?
And here we go. The horses would be needed for 6 major things in this project in 1895. Transporting, milling and lifting, general labor, site grading and excavation, water and power, cranes and heavy lifting, and getting the cranes there to the site, of course. This would take 20 to 30 horses to finish the project in 4.5 to 7.5 years, not 1 year. So we all understand. They would need way more than 30 horses, and we all understand that horses need water. Remember, this is for 30 horses for possibly 7.5 years. I want to make that point extremely clear. This is not the 1 year timeline that we're told. Now here we go. Let's absolutely destroy the narrative and end it forever. That any building anywhere in the world, like this one, could not be simply built in a year and just brushed off with zero explanation. How much water would the horses actually need? This is a key point that cannot be ignored, like it is in the mainstream narrative. A typical horse would drink anywhere from 5 to 15 gallons of water per day for a project like this. Damn. This is to properly keep the horses hydrated, or they will die, especially in Texas, where it's extremely hot in the summer months. For only 30 horses, you would need 300 gallons of water per day. This is only 10 horses over 7.5 years. Where is all this water coming from? Why is this massive point ignored? The point alone proves that this project did not happen in a year. This is such a horrible slip up for the narrative. And it is the most important part of the logistic project that needs to be taken care of. Without the water supply for the main transportation for the project, none of this happens anywhere in the world in the 1800s. From this point on, a narrative that tells us that they built a building in a year in the 1800s without explaining the massive supply of water for the horses should be looked at as a lie. Incredible. This is a major failure by the narrator, a massive flaw that now opens the floodgates. This narrative is not possible. Did they think that we would never question this? And now we know that this type of construction is not even close to possible. We are waking up to the nonsense. We are educating each other, building a group of people that are not just accepting lies and actually questioning. We are looking into things, and the more we look, the easier it gets. The more answers we find, and the more truth comes through. And the more that we know, the harder and harder it is to lie to us. Once you know the truth, like I always say, you don't go back to not knowing. You are now awake, and you will take this information with you and apply it to the next story, where they will tell you that a building was built in a year by a quarry owner that never built anything before and never again in his entire life. And we have a bonus today as a thank you for liking, commenting, and subscribing to the channel. But before we do this, I'm gonna make this extremely clear. I do not have a problem with any group, race, religion, or any of that. These narratives cover all races, religions, and agendas. So now that we're clear on that, we have the Yeshiva University High School. This is a modern Orthodox Jewish day school located on 2540 Amsterdam Avenue, New York, New York. It only has 300 students aged 14 to 18. Only boys are allowed in this school. For anyone that has not seen episode 35, you may want to check that one out after this, so you fully understand the legal definition of the word founded. Let's pretend that we constructed an incredible building that looks just like this one. Would we say that we found it, or would we say that we built it? Honestly, it's as simple as that. We do not say that we founded our houses. This is ridiculous and incredible that the word founded has been thought of as built for so long. The founding fathers, they found a lot of stuff that they didn't build. Telling you is a rule for some reason. Being able to tell you something and you not understand what you're saying is still you accepting that you're being told something. Exactly. This is a classic spell that is cast. It is a deception tactic. The word spelling is literally spell casting. Founded is not constructed or built. All right, let's get back to this school. What do we see here in the alumni section? We haven't found more people that found a bunch of stuff, have we? Actually, we found 6 people that seem to be good at finding things, all having something to do with this building that was found. Now, the individual who found this building is surely a great guy who wouldn't steal anything or say that a building that he finds is his, or would he? The TA, as it originally was called, was founded in 1916 by Rabbi Dr. Bernard Revel. Bernard Revel? Who is this guy? Oh, he was a great guy that was only arrested and imprisoned in Russia and then immigrated over to the United States to find this building. While in America, he struggled though. Oh wait, no. He married right into a rich family in 1909. All right, so enough about this guy. I think we get the point. And we have this section of the story, of course. Interesting, okay. February 9th of this current year, 2023. Okay, right, okay. Giving 1.5 million to this school, all right. And we all know about renovations, how these buildings don't need to be renovated. This is normally a way to destroy the old world. But let's check this auditorium out. Interesting. What do you think? Does this need renovation? Looks pretty incredible to me. The project is going to include the restoration of stained glass windows and ceiling. What is wrong with the windows and the ceiling? We have eyes to see. Do we need someone else to tell us that the ceiling and the glass look awesome and should be left alone? And what is this? Look at that architecture. The stonework on this place is so detailed and precise. Whoever did this was unbelievable at their job. How is this individual or group or construction team? How are they unknown to us? And it was supposedly built within the last 100 years. So we should definitely know who did this. That fact alone should get alarms ringing. If they could really build this place, you would have to ask yourself, why would they write the name of the whole building so pathetic? That alone should be a major red flag. For anyone that is on the fence, this is crazy. Look at how terrible that is. It is totally put on the building by our civilization, not the ones that built the building. And they do it again here. This is laughable stuff. It looks like they just put a sticker on the stone and called it a day. So here is the outside where the stained glass is going to be destroyed and redone by our advanced civilization. It is clear that these colors and this pattern is meaningful, and we simply do not understand it. It's not damaged, it's not old, it doesn't need our help. So here is the building that we are talking about. This is a photo from 1928, and I'm guessing 1928, even though it only says 28. And look at these windows, clearly being covered up by the sidewalk, more and more as we go from left to right. Very interesting. We have shown this kind of window covering before, and it shows that this building is definitely much bigger than we can see with our eyes. And who really knows what the date of this place is? That's someone's handwriting on the picture. I could have easily wrote that for all we know. I didn't, but my point is that it's just crazy the things that we just blindly accept, just because we are told that it's true by someone or a group that has awarded themselves the leader. This picture could be from the past civilization for all we know, and our finders found their camera. Now here on the Yeshiva University website, under this founder Bernard guy's bio, they tell us that in 1928, they were supposedly granted permission to build this building that we are looking at. 1928, remember, the institution's charter was amended to authorize the granting of Bachelor of Arts and Bachelor of Science degrees. Now, because they are allowed to give out degrees, they were now going to construct their main building. That same year, in 1928, like we talked about, the building was done, as shown in the picture from November 26, 1928. So we are now being told that this building was constructed in less than 11 months. Whoa. Anyone else see these pictures? A year? 1 year to build all of this. There are massive alarms going off in this narrative. Look at the stonework alone. Less than a year? From start to finish. Which construction company was used? How many men? Where did they get the materials from? Which architect did they use? We have proven through AI, ChatGPT, that this is not possible to construct in a year, not even close. There are so many major factors that are just brushed under the rug here in this crazy story that would need to be explained, that at this point, in my opinion, it's honestly impossible for it to be true. That ceiling alone should be questioned. This auditorium was just thrown together in a few months and still had plenty of time for the rest of the building in 11 months. It's just incredible stuff. I hope you all enjoyed this longer episode. I'm very thankful that you are all enjoying these episodes. I really enjoy sharing my research with you all. I enjoy reading the comments and seeing this topic and research.
Oh yeah, that's a good video, man. On that note, I'ma holler at y'all motherfuckers later, man. Peace.